Good afternoon. Welcome to the Dr. Kennedy podcast. The Dr. Kennedy podcast is sponsored by the Daniels Foundation for Impact Investments and Development. And today we have Ken Johnston. And Ken Johnston was a graduate of East Orange High School. He's now a professor at the College of Southern Nevada. And Ken is just an overall nice guy. Knew him in high school, charismatic guy. He's an audio engineer, platinum winning, multi-platinum Grammy winning audio engineer. He's worked with Lauryn Hill. He's worked with Shaka Khan, Jay-Z, and we're just honored to have Ken. And when we introduce East Orange audience and audience in general back to Ken Johnston, and sit back and get ready for an action-packed time interview with Ken Johnston, a professor, graduate of the media school out of New York City. And let's just enjoy him and let's hear what Ken has to say on the fascinating time and topic of the music industry. So get your cold beverage, get your drink, and get ready to speak to Ken Johnston on the other side. Thank you very much for the support. Okay, good afternoon, and welcome to the Dr. Kennedy podcast. The Dr. Kennedy podcast is sponsored by the Daniels Foundation for Impact Investment Development. And guess what, folks? After that short introduction, we have Ken Johnston. Ken, how you doing? Why don't you say hello to the folks? Ken.
I'm doing great. Doing out there.
Okay,
I'm doing real good. You know, I'll be in Las Vegas, enjoying the weather. You guys got snow there? No, you're in Florida, so you know what it's like.
Yeah, I'm in Florida. Yeah, got the good
But
weather.
you can see here. You can see here we got the good weather out here. You know,
Okay.
nice and don't need no coat or anything. So, just like you guys, said we don't have them. What you guys have all the time with the war that comes and take over the
Hurricanes, yeah.
Hurricanes and stuff. Yeah, we don't have that, but.
Well, you know, you don't get to see no alligators either, so you know we get a little.
Yeah, I know. I missed. Oh, I would love to see some alligators. Just scorpions here, just scorpions. But yeah,
Well, thank you for doing this. Looking great, man.
Beautiful
And,
day.
you know, I was telling the folks in the intro that you know you got this amazing background in music and audio engineering. I know no folks aware that you work with Lauryn Hill and Jay-Z and Shaka, and it's like. I'm jealous. It's like amazing. So before we get on that, maybe talk a little about your background, your formal education, how you got into music, that kind of thing. What's kind of how did you do this?
Oh man, I've been in music since a little kid, since the 4th grade, playing trombone and played in a lot of bands and stuff, and played in a lot of high school bands, traveling and with a lot of the most popular people in East Orange, and I ran a lot of horn sections and stuff. So it was fun, and from there, me and my man, Drew Sadler, we went to play with a group called Slave. And that's when I fell in love with audio,
Okay.
because and anybody knows that group knows the bass sound is like crazy. That guy, Mark Adams, is, God rest in peace, but he had a serious sound that him and Stevie put together, and it was just amazing. So I just been chasing that sound my whole life, That's how I ended up getting into it.
Now, did you do any of the audio work on the Slave, slide, any of that kind of stuff, or you just?
No, I just played horn on Just a Touch of Love album,
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's when I learned. But I was in the studio the whole time they did it, and man, what amazing sounds he had. Oh,
yeah, that's
Mark
amazing.
had like a 3-way system with subs and mids and horns, and the guitar players had 6 Marshall amplifiers each, and it was just crazy, just a wall of sound. And we had the North drum set back then. I don't know if anybody knows about that, but we had, it was just amazing, the recording process and how to get that sound. We had 15 horns, something like that. It was just crazy. Just everything was like big.
Wow.
Everything was big,
Right.
Everything was huge, massive. There was 7 of us playing for the group, and then we hired a Professor Jerry Hay horns to come in and do horns on that album too. So they doubled us, and it was just, whoo, man.
Well, let me ask you a question.
So that was the best experience in recording I had. So Stevie was definitely my mentor and getting into recording and stuff. So
let me ask you a question, because I kind of did a little music project. This whole thing of being a purist, being a live music with the live musicians, where now a lot of the studio stuff, which is your area, the audio engineer, you can just pipe in, any kind of I guess, be synthesized music of anything. What's your feelings
Right.
on the purist versus technology kind of thing? Where you come down on that? What's the way to go? I think I know the answer, but I guess it's a trade-off, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a trade-off. Yeah, definitely. But it's so easy nowadays to record, It's not like how we had to do it back in the day.
Uh-huh.
Everything was manual, so you couldn't, like today, everything is automated, so.
Right.
And it's so easy. You can buy a $1,000 laptop and $1,000 interface and a microphone, and next thing you know, you can record a whole album and it sounds very, very, very good,
Right.
And you can recreate studios inside of your computer. So if you wanted to recreate a $1 million console inside your computer, you can do that and have it that particular sound. So it's so much nicer and so much easier. And then you can recall stuff 10 years from now. I can hit, load, and it loads up exactly what I was working on. Back in the day, you would have to rewire everything, return the knobs, and do everything to make it sound the exact same. And let's say you wanted to do a mix where the drums dropped out on the fifth bar or whatever, then you'd have to do that on the fly. We would sometimes have 3 people behind the console pushing buttons and panning stuff left and right and doing all this stuff at the same time. Hopefully we did it right. Otherwise you had to start all over back at the beginning. One person would do the vocals, one person would do the drums, one person would do the keys, and you'd have to do it that way in order to automate your mix, and then it didn't remember what you did. And then finally the boards came out with a way to remember your moves and automate it. I keep saying that word. Automation came into the scene. That changed the whole game,
Wow, that's amazing.
But it was crazy, man. So, but as far as sound and stuff, it's nothing like live musicians, but we're so used to hearing no live musicians. So in music now, you don't really hear live musicians. So your ears, I guess, get used to that type of sound,
Right. That's interesting. Yeah. It's almost like watching.
I can't say what would be better. What we're used to hearing is no live musicians, but we all know live musicians is what it is,
Mm-hmm.
If you come up in our era.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely a difference in terms of it's almost like the video game when you see enough killing, you just accept it.
Right, you accept it, yeah. So, I have to fight with my son with that all the time.
Right.
Well, yeah, you can recreate everything. You can recreate the same amps that we used back then, and you can create a room, and you can put a microphone. You could do microphone placement all
yeah.
If you want the microphone 6 inches further from the speaker, pull the microphone back and you hit a room, and it's just crazy with control and all inside the computer.
Right. So let me keep this in the back of your mind. I want to come back because as I'm talking to you, all these thoughts are coming to my head because this whole digitalization of media. I want to keep that. I'm gonna go somewhere, but keep that in your head think about this whole digitalization and branding, because you got a lot to say on this. It just came to mind that's you're the future. You sit right in front of the future. It's come right back around to you.
Right? We see it.
That's pretty interesting. But
definitely.
So I don't really know you kind of like I want to say personally. So can you talk about your family impact? Your formative years. What person may have been important in your life? How that might impact where you are today.
Everything, and I got a couple kids. Married, got a beautiful wife. So yeah, she's very supportive. She helps me do anything I want to do. And we work together. We build websites and and stuff like that. Marketing people. And this digital thing is so nice and easy,
Right.
But you just have to make sure you put the work and the hours in. But we definitely you do that too. So you know what it's like.
Uh-huh.
If you can build a following that way, for a fraction of the price it took to build the following back when we were coming up,
Right.
But you just got to stay on top of it. Right. A lot of hours.
What about your days back in East Orange? Take me back to East Orange, growing up down the way, walking up the hill. What was it like walking up the hill back in the day?
Oh man, William Street, right?
Yeah.
It was rough, man.
I knew you was down the way walking up. So where'd you go to elementary school?
Right. I went to intermediate school, which was at first was a it was a New Jersey Bell building with 106 students when I went there.
Wow.
And and you could pick, it was a pilot program. Originally I went to Kentop, but after that I went to there, and you could pick the classes that you wanted to go to, as long as you went to math for 6 hours a week. And it was a serious pilot program. It was cool. It had a lot of music and a lot of audio visual and stuff like that. So that's why I liked it. But it was real cool, you know. There was no gyms or nothing. No, we didn't have basketball courts or anything. And then they moved next door to a big building and called it intermediate school. And then it was nothing but an office building. And they took the whole concept to a whole nother level. And then then they moved on North Clinton by Springdale. And they bought this huge building and did it there. I was out of school by that time, but they did that, you know. But it was cool, you know. But walking, you know,
never heard of that. That's good.
Yeah, I had to walk a mile to school every day. We didn't have buses back then. My kids got buses now, so I'm like, y'all.
I tell that story every day I can. I'm like,
right?
I
know, right? I actually had an operation on my foot and had to wear a cast for 3 months and had to walk with crutches a mile to school every day and back, you know. Crazy, but we did what we had to do back then. You know?
Oh man, I lived the furthest of anyone in East Orange. I lived over by almost South Orange. I had like a I had like a 45-minute walk every day.
Oh man, what school did you go to?
Well, I went to Washington Elementary.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But you know, you keep going. You know what Orange Park is? Way over there. Orange. I walked from Orange all the way up to the high school. Me and Joe Jordan.
Wow.
Slade,
every day,
rain,
right?
sleet, shine. And back then, you know, we did fast walking, right?
Definitely. Yeah, I had to learn how to walk.
You don't understand what fast walking was, you know?
Because you never knew who was lurking in that corner of that house behind the bushes.
Because you fast walk because, you know, you ain't want to stop because can't nobody catch you, right?
Right, definitely.
So, we got some good stories. But,
that on top of, you know, a little Swiss up in your system, you know, you're good to go, you know?
So when you got to the high school, you know, tell me about, you know, some of your memories, what kind of clubs you was in the high school, that kind of stuff. And, you know.
In high school, I was basically band, 100% band, you know, jazz bands, you know, marching band, all that stuff. Went out for football and stuff, but that I didn't really like it. So, but
yeah, I remember you played football. Yeah, you played JV.
Yeah, right. And then you know, we had band camp every year. That was cool for a week or so. We'd go away and, you know, practice routines and just camp out and stuff like that. So that was fine. So it was basically, it was like its own world, you know. We had practice rooms in a whole section of the school. That was our homeroom.
Yeah, the homeroom school.
Yeah, so that's just basically what it was.
Tell me about, give me some stories of some of the band people so they could give me some names of band people. I know it was who was in the band, like who was the drum corps back then?
Oh, Ignatz.
Was Daryl Manuel in the band?
My brother started the whole thing. And, no, he didn't go to East Orange High. You know, he just passed, man. I was so messed up by that, you know?
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Who?
You said Daryl Daniels?
No, Daryl Manuel.
Oh, yeah, he was in the band. Yeah.
Daryl Manuel, yeah. He trumpet.
Right. Trumpet, right there.
Of course, Drew was in there, trumpet.
Yeah, Drew was in there.
What about Carol Chambers? She in the
band? Washington, who started Slade. But yes, you know, all the cats came to East Orange High. You got Lockhart, everybody, man.
Well, I know was in there. What's his name? Fowler.
Bang, huh?
Ron Fowler.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, man. I was in the band with him. You know.
Ron, he played the sax. He played the sax a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, you know all the cats, huh? Yeah, man.
That was good.
Ron, his brother too. I forget his brother's name. Light skin. He started out like he grew like a foot. He's tall. At least a foot.
Yeah. He's thinking he could ball. I had to teach him things. He said, "No, this ain't for you, bro."
Oh man, yes.
childhood, yeah.
Yeah, it was just, that's what I'm saying. It was just fun. It's like a movie, like you watch some band camp movies. It was the same exact way there.
Yeah, right.
Hmm.
So let's get into the music stuff. So you have this fantastic career, music industry, and the first thing I want to hit on is the distribution of music. Distribution has changed over the years. So can you talk about the business of music and what you see as the next big thing in terms of music distribution, uh, maybe artists, entrepreneurs, and maybe the opportunities for minorities in that sense?
The way I look at it is, man, there's never been an opportunity like this before. Of course, you don't get paid that much per unit, but you get paid for somebody listening to your unit, to your song,
Mm-hmm.
So why not put out 100 albums? You can put out as many albums as you want. You can put out you can change your name on the project, and keep the same name. You can do hip hop, you can do R&B, you can do dance, you can do rock and roll. You can just put out 1 million different projects.
Right.
And while you're sleeping, they should be selling. Just promote them. And then basically the more projects you put out, when somebody types in Ken Johnston into the search engine, you're going to see all your projects come up because your name is tied to so much more stuff on the internet. So It's a really cool way to go. Also, what happens if, you got something on the internet and Drake says, oh, I like that song, and he takes a sample from it, and you end up on a Drake record, then your whole financial situation is going to change completely at that point, because now you got publishing off of Drake, or you got publishing off of whoever, Kanye or whoever might take your beat and use it on their record. You've seen that. Like, he done a couple records with a couple of New Orleans cats, and Beyonce did it with a New Orleans cat, and these cats are now getting paid.
Right.
So it's nothing like somebody. Back in the day, they did breakbeat albums. So you would put together a little breakbeat album, and hopefully somebody would pick up your breakbeat album and then make it into a song. And next thing you know, KRS-One used your breakbeat, and now you're getting publishing off of his music. So it's kind of the same. So it's a huge market, So you can, and you never know who's listening to you when, and it's free. Most of the time it's free. If you really know how to work social media, it's free to promote yourself. These young kids got millions and millions of followers. They're not even paying for it. They know how to promote themselves. They stay on the gram and everything else, and they just promote themselves. Now they got 3 million followers, and now record companies looking at them like to put money into them, So it's really cool. But even if you did, let's say me and you did a duet and we made an album and we got picked up on day one, the record company's not going to do anything for us until we do something for ourselves anyway. They're going to say, well, listen, you got our name, so you should be able to go out and promote everything. You're not going to promote it. Why am I? But then once you get it to a certain level, they'll jump in and turn the machine on, but they're not going to get you to that level. Gotcha. You got to do that level yourself, So why not just do it yourself from the beginning? It's like make 40 albums. Why not?
Right.
And then, you got people that make beats. They call them beats now instead of tracks or music, So you got people that makes, instead of song, instrumentals that you can sing on top or rap on top. Why not make beats and put them on? It's a two-sided thing. You could sell that. You could wait till somebody pays you $5,000 for your beat or $100,000 for your beat, or you could put it on YouTube for free. And now you got 300 people using your beat. It's like a horse race. Out of 300, one of them might blow. And if one does blow, guess what? Guess who gets all the credit? Who now is in the game? Who now takes over? Who now gets everybody calling them for beats and so forth and so on? And that's how it works. It just takes one hit record. And now, you can actually, if I wanted to write Jay-Z, I could probably try to DM him. I might not get to him per se, but you can DM a lot of high-end superstars, and some of the time you'll get through, Like you might want to DM Ice-T or something. Ice Cube, you DM, boom, and they might read it one day. You don't know, but back in the day, you had no way of getting in contact with anybody.
Right.
So it's really cool.
There's a lot of gatekeepers that was,
yeah, definitely. Oh, there still are, but yeah, definitely, yeah, right. But everybody, even if them cats aren't doing their own social media, they're gonna go look. Or they're gonna look at it. They're not doing the responses and stuff. Some of them, but they're gonna look at it just once in a while to see how it's going. Right. See what they paying for. See if the person's doing the work the right way. They might see your question and be like, "Oh, Yeah, well, I grew up in that area too, Mo. And then boom, now you got a conversation with them.
Right. So let's
and you just never know, man. Huh?
Let's talk about some of your achievements. So you're a multi. This stuff, I'm blown away by what you've done, and you're very modest. So you're a
Thank you.
Platinum
My wife says that to me all the time.
Award engineer. Can you talk about this achievement, what it means to you, and how did all this come about? What's it take to become a multi-platinum engineer?
Oh man, it takes takes focus. Your work's for itself. Like I never did advertising or anything. When somebody plays a song that you worked on and it sounds great, that's your business card right there. But it takes first you got to be in my line of work. First you got to be a good recording engineer. So you have to record everything the right way. You don't want to record something that's distorted or something's missing or the tracks aren't labeled. Nowadays you can label your tracks, you can color your tracks, you can make sure everything is picture perfect to level. This guy's good. I like working with this guy. So let's say he has somebody that is going to be good. So that's one way of doing it for itself. And I've been written up for things back in the day, magazines and stuff. Just because my work spoke for itself, and I basically worked at Unique Recording, my first studio gig, and that was in New York City. I think it was the largest studio in the world at that time. And they had a concept where they had all this equipment. So let's say you worked on a Juno 106 and you come to their studio, they had a 106. So in my studio in East Orange, I kind of did the same thing. I bought a bunch of equipment so that, especially in keyboards and samples to rent it, I already had it there. All you people coming to my studio, plus man, or in that area, period. When you came to my people would come to work for me just because they knew every week I had some new gear coming, Right. So I flooded my studio with gear. And everybody that came there was like, okay, I use a MPC 60, okay, all right, boom, I got that. I use a 3000, I got that. Whatever you had, I had it pretty much in the studio. And that was my concept. And I had a bunch of 30 different microphones, and I just had a good sounding board and everything. So, and I bought an iconic spot in East Orange that did, a bunch of hits.
Hey Ken, we got a little technical.
Before I even got it,
we got a little bit of technical difficulties. I think when you move around a little bit, it kind of.
This decade before me, and then I bought a studio called Ears. It had to close down for a few years, but the decade that they had a really nice run. They did all the M2 made stuff, You, Me, and He, and and that Biggie used, and they did Isley Brothers, Caravan of Love, and Third World, Now That We Found Love. They just did a bunch of, AEIOU, bunch of records, Then when I bought it, in my decade, I did a bunch of records, So it was a really iconic spot that I bought. It was torn down when I bought it, so I rebuilt it up. But the sound of the place was just amazing. So it was a good buy. And I filled it up with equipment. And
we play a song. Let me see when you hear this. What's this bring to mind?
Everybody just started coming there. I had everybody coming from New York, and everybody coming from Jersey.
When you hear that, what's that bring to mind when you hear that?
I couldn't hear it. I'm sorry. Yeah, man. Yeah.
What's that bring back to mind?
Oh man, this is just love, man. Such a wonderful person to work with.
Okay.
Hardest working in show business at that time. You know, she'd be in 3 studios at the same time. You know, we'd be in there for like 22 hours. She'd be like, pull up the next reel, and everybody be like, come on, it's time to go home. But, you know, you still would do it, but never stop working. Workaholic, but so like anal and so just professional and wanting everything picture perfect, and that's what we did, you know. So
let me ask you about that. So when you had that kind of success, you know, when you go viral like that, you know, I guess even for some of the young people coming up, how do you handle that in terms of now, you know, now your focus shifts, your workload shift. How did you handle all that?
oh man, it's the best feeling in the world hearing your stuff on the radio, something that you worked on the radio. You know, you just get goosebumps, you know, and then everybody I'm a quiet person, so so people don't think I'm doing something, you know, and then boom, they hear one of my records on the radio, and it's like, wow, you know, so that feels good, you know, because I don't like telling people what I'm doing, because people will, especially nowadays with social media, people will just hate on you. So once it's done, it's there, so you get that feeling like, oh, everybody gonna hear this now, okay, and it's just the great. Your parents hear it. It's just the greatest feeling ever, you know, that you worked on something that's on the air playing every 5 times an hour, you know. So you can't beat that, and then you become the person at the spot where they did it, you know. So you end up getting a bunch of business, you know, but you got to keep your head on, like you said. It definitely is. It can go to your head, but that still with me, it was always about sound. It was never about going to my head or anything. I just was able to do projects involving more things using sound, you know. And it was just her sound was just amazing, you know, the stuff she did, and it just went on and on and on. So yeah,
it never ended. So
I wish I had social media. Oof.
Right.
Yeah, that's what kind of put it to the stop. No social media.
So did you work with yourself with Wycliffe and all that kind of stuff? You guys work together too?
I just met him. I never worked with him. No, not him. He had his own studio, you know, so I really never worked with him, but he came through a few times. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you know all the stars, man. That's nice. You know, you got the.
Yeah, it was cool, man. It was the best time of my life, man. Definitely. I couldn't beat it, man.
I know you got some stories to tell. You can't tell the stories on the air, but you got stories.
Right. Yeah, we'll talk about those after we, you know, depart on this show.
So talk with it. What does it mean? Like, you know, I kind of know what it's like to be around world-class talent. You know, when you work with, you know, the best minds in the industry, that kind of stuff, and finance stuff like that. What's it like to work with stars? You know, they got an ego. You got to work with their work ethic. Maybe they got a good one, maybe they got a bad one. Can you talk about some of those experiences, though, good and bad? What do you run into?
Oh man, it's both. Like you said, good and bad, man. Basically the mindset, the first thing you said is their mindset. They're gonna win, you know, they're gonna win. You know, but the second thing is how anal are they? You know, like you with somebody and, you know, it might sound good to you, but it don't sound good to them. So you're 3 hours later trying to correct something in their mind, you know. So the mindset is different, you know. But it just becomes tough work, you know. And most of them are cool, you know. I didn't really have any no weird cats, you know. Knock on wood, I didn't really have people that was like crazy. I had a couple, you know, people that weren't successful that was out there, but the ones that were successful just wanted to do music, man. It's about music. I had some of the most, notorious thugs and dealers and murderers. Everything came through there. And everybody was at peace in my spot because it was all about music, you know? It was all about music.
Right.
I always remember I had some young cats came in and tatted, you know, sprayed up my building. I was like, man, you got to get this off. And they actually came and cleaned, you know, wiped it off and sprayed it off and, you know, however they get that stuff off the walls, and they used that and they cleaned up the building. It was like, I had a certain respect there. It was like, it's kind of like church. And because it's the way out of the hood. It's the way out of that life, you know?
Right.
And nothing like being like a basketball star or something, you know? So we had cats that really took it serious and wanted to get out of that environment, you know, so they would take, that's the only place they could come. There was no fighting, it was no nothing. And they could showcase their talents that they've been working on the whole time and get praise and it sound perfect. And you know, so they had a whole different level of respect when they came there and recorded, you know. That's why I had the most craziest people and the most nicest people, women, men, anything, whatever came through, and they were all respected. We all had massive conversations, and it was just cool, man. It was just a vibe, you know, that nobody went against, you know. It was just, so as far as having like super crazy people, no, but just workaholics, yeah, workaholics and anal people that wanted to make sure that everything was perfect. No, let's go back and just turn that vocal down one hair, you know.
So you now talk about one of the girls we stars, Latifah. I think we called her Dawn back in the day. And can you talk about, you know, her work ethic and her rise? Because now she's come back, she's done some good things. I think she's done some philanthropy north, done some apartments down there. Let's talk about her, about that, kind of like you just said, about it's a way out, you make it, you come back. Can you talk about how she, you know, what she means to you?
My queen?
Yeah, talk about the queen.
Oh, I never met her. I worked on a project for her, like on her personal project. Yep. Never met her though. Met Shakim a bunch of times, and I recorded her whole label worth of bands and stuff, you know. So yeah, they basically started giving people, you know, distribution deals and record deals and stuff, and I recorded that whole lot of cats. You know, they actually had a album called The Takeover or something that featured a bunch of people, but I did a lot of recordings for them, but never met her. But you know, she definitely
let me throw another name
much respect for her. Much respect,
what about Naughty by Nature and was James Gist, did he manage them for a while?
Say it again.
Naughty by Nature and James Gist, did he manage them?
Oh yeah, that's my man. We went to high school together. Yes. This is that man, you know. That was my people. Yeah, he did manage them because his brother was in the band, you know.
Right.
KG is his brother, and
right.
Yeah, I did a bunch of stuff for them. KG really blessed me with, you know, with Jaheim. I did Jaheim. I did Next. I did Next Jaheim. A bunch of his artists, Mag G, a bunch of Road Dogs, bunch of everything he worked on. I pretty much touched my studio at that time. So yeah, I mean, I owe a lot to KG. You know, he brought a lot through, and then Tretch did a bunch of his personal things, and you know, when he ever did solo stuff or whatever, and his chain gang, he brought all that through there. So it was cool, man. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, they was with Shakim too. They was with that whole Queen Latifah organization. You know, I just never met her, but you know, Tretch was married to Salt and Pepper.
Right.
So they came through.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like the whole.
So that was fun.
I mean, you can talk about the whole hip hop culture, right? With those names, just per se, and you know, the rise. You know.
Right. No. Right.
And then the other side of it is that, you know, as an artist matures, then they got to find something else to do. You know, that's another side of it.
Yeah.
Level where,
exactly.
You know, like you're saying that. In fact, I was talking to somebody else this today. Is that, you know, let's say, and it was Principal Cafelli just before you, who said that. Well, let's say you have a hip hop artist, and you know he might get one album. That's it. If you're lucky, get 2 or 3.
Right.
Star. Eventually, you got to be going from production to management or something. You know,
right.
You know,
keep it going, right?
Yeah. So that's got to be some type of maturation. You know, like actors, they go from in front of the camera to behind the camera, kind of thing.
Right.
So you know, that's got to be. You would think that you would see more of that, but that's kind of it's not. It's easier said than done. I guess what I'm getting at.
I think I agree with you saying. Definitely, like I would like to speak on that, but as far as like you don't see as much of it now is because everything is self-contained, you know? You can buy the brand new iPhone and have a terabyte of memory. So you can shoot movies on the iPhone, you know? So it's like you can do a lot of stuff yourself. And I think that's what we're not realizing, that people just do a lot of those business moves themselves. You know, they don't have to hire anybody. And then now they got programs where they can record and they can do all this stuff on their phones, and it's just a lot easier nowadays, you know. But the thing I like is that, you know, like when Biggie and all them came up, you know, they would end up dead, you know, like artists were dying off before they really matured and could show what they would do with their money, you know, and I think that was on purpose, you know. But you see like somebody that's been investing in the game, like a Jay-Z, all the stuff he does with his money, Kanye, all the stuff he does with his money, like, you know, these cats are like showing you that they're men now. They're like 40, 50, 60 years old. They're men now, and they're showing, even with basketball players and then, you know, football players, you know, they got all this, like LeBron, you know, you got somebody that now is older and making schools for kids and scholarships and, you know, just the wonderful, even Michael Jordan is finally coming around and spending some of his money on people.
Right.
Like he never did, you know?
Right.
So everybody starts maturing, and now you see them giving back.
Right.
And I think, you know, imagine what Biggie probably would have been doing today, you know, or Tupac. You know, imagine what they would have been doing with their money, because they definitely made money. So imagine what they would have been doing with their money, you know, as men, as Black men. And I think they was cutting us down so that money couldn't go nowhere, and the money would get wasted. They give you the money, and then they kill you so that you couldn't use it, you know. But now, you know, everybody's a little bit smarter and doing great things with money for everybody, you know, putting people in position, helping cats get out of jail, you know, just like doing so many, getting into politics. It's just beautiful now, man, because everybody's matured and older. And I think that's, you know, what they were scared of, but it's finally, they can't handle it. They can't stop it no more, you know?
Gotcha.
So
let's talk about your business, Production Hub, and in the context of that, maybe talk about this whole, because, you know, I kind of went out to your website and looked at, you know, basically everything, you know, and so this whole digitalization of media where, you know, everything, for example, it blew my mind when this little company that makes gifts sold for billions of dollars, you know.
Oh man.
And so, you know, just the digitization of life, you know, everything digitized, you know. Michael
Jordan. That's the thing I'm talking
about.
You can put out 100,000 products, one of them gonna win, you know. With no money, one of them gonna win. So just keep flooding the market, huh? Yeah.
But you know, let's think about the church. Now we know that essentially we need more entrepreneurship in minority community. Music is a natural. It's an area where we have talent. That's my point.
Yeah.
And one of the ideas I've been playing with, well, I'm really surprised that no one's really capitalized, is bringing more musical and art education to the school as an entrepreneur, as a tool of business. Now, some schools have started this. What would you like to see in this area in terms of maybe, like, you know, let's talk about the Biden administration getting behind Black Lives Matter and start some platforms. What do you think about the entrepreneurial part of business and getting into schools earlier? And how early would you start it?
I started in grammar school, man. I used to read a lot of books from Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and he talked about how to raise your children to be financially smart. It's not taught in schools, you know. So yeah, you need to start that at an early age, teaching them about finances. Let's say you're rich, right? If you're not teaching your kids what's going to happen when you pass, or when the ball gets passed to them, are they going to lose everything that you built? You know, so definitely teach them early. You know, and there's so many opportunities nowadays I mean, you can come up with an idea and go on Shark Tank and get money, and next thing you know, you a millionaire 10 times over, you know, so many opportunities. Talking to people that can take you, there's books, there's audio books, there's YouTube, there's you know, there's Linda, there's just so many different places you can go to get knowledge. And you don't have to read, you can get audio books, you know, you can listen to them while you're driving. If you got an hour commute to work every day, put in an audio book and learn something about, you know, becoming an entrepreneur, you know, and do stuff like that to keep your brain moving all the time, you know, and learning. Don't give up on learning. But yeah, we have our new business is Mix 488, and we mix and master your songs for $88, which is amazing. We get and that's if you do 4 songs with us. And we have it where if you need to, you can make a monthly payment, 0%, no credit checks and nothing, $88 a month for 4 months. and we'll mix 4 songs for you. Even if we mix them all in the first month, it doesn't matter. You don't have to. It's not one a month. It's just your payment goes out $88 a month for 4 months. So we think it's an amazing program. You know, you just get us the stems, huh?
So how do people find that? Let's how can people that have talent that want to do something, where they find you?
www.mix488, like 488 the numbers .com, mix488.com.
Okay.
The website is there. It tells you all about, you know, what we do. And we're still building it. We want to get the website to the next level. We're working on that now. It's going to be amazing. But basically, you just send us your files. If you got 4 songs, you know, you can do blocks of 4 for only $88 each song. So if you got 8 songs, then you would do 2 blocks. So you would pay $88 twice a month. And this gets a little confusing, but you would pay, like, you buy them blocks of 4. So you'd only pay 88 times 2 the first month, 88 times 2 the second month, the third month, and then you're done. And you got 8 songs mixed for 100 and what is it, $76.
Yeah.
A month.
Yeah.
You got professionally done. The songs I don't do, I've got cats at multi-platinum engineers with, you know, crazy studios. I farm out a lot of work. The thing is that between me and you, why I can do it for that price is because, and do it on a monthly thing, is because if I can get 1,000 people coming into me at $88 a month, it becomes worth it monthly, you know, and I can employ people. I can do a lot of stuff. The way to get rich in this company, you'll see, is that you get monthly income coming in from any product that you might have.
Right. That's interesting.
So you'll see that clothing stores now for $40 a month, you get to pick clothes.
Right.
You know, a phone company for $50 a month, you get Metro PCS $50 a month. So if you got 1 million people paying $50 per month, it becomes a lot of money, you know? So that's our thing with this. That's why we're so cheap and make it so good. And, you know, we help walk you through the whole thing. You know, you're not getting slighted on any service. The mastering is free. And the effects that we get, you know, 100 people a month coming in, you know, that's 100 times $88 every month, you know. And then, you know, if we get 200, it's 200 times 88, you know. So that's our main behind the scenes goal of what we're trying to accomplish. And that helps out you as a consumer. It helps you out because you're paying such a low price, you know, and then it helps us out because the more people we get, the more money we make, and it makes sense. It doesn't make sense if I get one person doing it, but it makes sense if I got 300 people paying $88 a month. Now I have a nice income. I'm hiring people. I'm doing everything. You know, we're building it, making the website better. We're putting money back into it, you know, and just we got interns. We got, you know, it's just a beautiful thing at that point, you know.
Right.
So that's just a way that the community can get together and help, you know, make something work.
Now, do you run some of that through the college, or do you just basically on your own? How's that work? Because you said intern, sounds like it might be.
It's all on my own, but as far as like interns and cats helping, you know, people that I've taught, you know, they're part of it, you know. Well, yeah, they get to work and see it done and, you know, stuff like that. But
yeah, but you know, I might take, because you know I can sing. You didn't know I could sing, did you?
Oh no, man, I need to hear something right now.
While
I eat this wonderful meal my wife just made for me, I need to hear some of that right now.
Okay.
You mind if I eat while you sing?
I fell asleep late last night. The night and almost half the day away. I just woke up so that I can hear her say, she's still in. You know what can take her love away. I want love. A little bit. That's off the cut.
You know about that Luther, boy?
Yeah. So you put some auto-tune on me, I'll be all right.
Yeah, put it right there. You know, I was the first person to use auto-tune, right?
No, really?
On an R&B record. First person to use auto-tune on an R&B record, yeah.
Wow.
3LW, no more.
Auto-tune is amazing. Anybody can sound good with auto-tune.
Oh my God, the first time I heard it was on Cher. She did a Do You Believe? And I was, because I was heavy into club music back then too, had my own label and all that stuff. But I was wiped away. I was like, whoa. I'm also the first recording studio to have Pro Tools.
Okay.
The real Pro Tools.
What's Pro Tools? Explain that for us.
Pro Tools, that's the platform in which you record. It's the world's. It's like if you're in a major studio, they're gonna have Pro Tools. It's just like it's the standard of DAW. This is called digital audio workstation. It's like your tape recorder, your board, and everything all built into one. It's the world's standard. And I was the first audio recording studio, as I was told by the people that I bought it from. I was the first audio studio to have Pro Tools.
Okay.
So that's a monument, considering what Pro Tools is today. That's what I teach in college, Pro Tools, so that's how, there's classes in college that you can buy to learn how to, do Pro Tools. That's how big the program is. So I was the first person to have that. And I was the first person, they call them plugins and stuff, to use plugins and stuff. I taught a lot of people how to work it, and autotune was one of them. Mm-hmm. So when I got autotune, we put it on the singer for the group 3LW, and it went platinum. So that was cool. Wow. So it wasn't T-Pain. Everybody think T-Pain is the man.
No, that's what I thought was T-Pain. That's what I was told, that T-Pain was an autotune man. Mm-mm. That's good information. Thank you for that piece.
He is. He could freak the heck out of it, but he wasn't the first.
Right. Okay, let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk a little about Black Lives Matter, because it's a movement.
Yes.
It impacts all industries. So what role do you see artists, people like yourself playing in terms of, I'll give you my example. Back in the 1960s, when there was the civil rights movement, Harry Belafonte, Sidney Poitier, those kind of guys were really activists. And they kind of were the face of the movement. They were raising money behind the scenes. So what do you see, what role can the music industry per se play in Black Lives Matter, and are they doing it?
I see a big shift. I mean, they're starting to, but it's all a platform, man. It's all a way to reach people, Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go off subject a minute, but you take an artist that went platinum. They basically got all these albums sold, and people know them as an artist. What they do next? They start doing movies. They start, like you said, they start getting to behind the scenes. It's just a platform to get the people to know who you are. So nowadays we have all these kids with 40 million, 60 million, 110 million people following them. They can put out one tweet and it reaches real true fans of 80 million people, so use these platforms that they created, and use the platform that they ended up being on the top of, and put the word out, Right. If Beyonce comes out, I'm just using that name. If Beyonce comes out and says, a kid was just killed in Texas and blah, 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 guess what? 80 million people just seen that. Being You came out, the new Star Legend would put it out, and how many they probably had 100,000 subscribers, that's about it.
Right.
It had to go to the news, and if it didn't make it to the news, it was never heard. But these people got their own built-in ways of reaching the entire world by just tweeting something. Right. So yeah, I think they should use them platforms a lot more. Of course, nobody wants them to do it. The heads to be don't want them to do it, but I see them a lot, man. Like basketball players now, wearing the jerseys and the bubble, and and just everybody's starting to get conscious. Everybody knows BLM, everybody, you see it on streets. So it's just a matter of now of staying in tune to keep. Don't let it disappear. Because me and my wife were talking the other day. We like stuff lasts for like 3 days on the internet.
Right.
Like you'll see someone pass away, and you'll get 3 days worth of everybody blowing up timelines. This and then the 5th day you see like 10 people doing it, and the week later nobody's doing it. So like Black Lives Matter, when it was really strong, you get a good 2 weeks of it being strong, and then it fades out. On to the next. Everything is quick nowadays, so we just got to keep it alive, And if you have those platforms, keep it alive.
I've not seen it in the news cycle lately.
Right. That's everything dies.
You know, when I go down the street,
We're in a
I see
microwave
people
world.
in the street, but I'm not really seeing much media content because now we're distracted by the election and Christmas, and probably won't come up to
Right.
killing. You know, next killing, then it'll be hot again. You know, so you know, it's kind
It
of
appears that the killing slowed down. It appears that way. I'm not sure, but
you know, interesting. But
and then we got to stop. We got to stop these fight videos where we're hurting ourselves, man.
right,
And people enjoying it,
right.
you know, showing us high, showing us in bad ways, you know.
Let me
And
ask
once
you,
we stop that, huh?
question. Let me ask you a question. I really don't know the answer to. It's kind of like just a tangent here. Are there any like in my field, there's finance journals so per se. You know, what kind of journals are there? Let me get to a little nerdy question. What kind of journals are there, like in audio engineering, where people do research on get down to the the nitty gritty of mathematics of audio engineering, that kind of stuff? Are there kind of journals out there like that?
Bunch of videos, there's journals. You got the AES Society, stuff like that, which is Audio Engineering Society. You can join that. You got the Grammy Society you can join. But basically, there's a lot of good videos out there, man. Tons and tons of videos for any question you might have. What is sound? How do I work Pro Tools? How do I do this? You know, what should I buy? What speaker sounds better than this speaker? So you get to, I tell my students when I was coming up, only thing I had was magazines, you know. There's nothing else. Like if the new piece of gear came out, if they didn't advertise it, I didn't know what it was. Right. I had magazines, you know, and back then regular music stores didn't sell the stuff that I bought. I bought like super pro high end stuff. So I couldn't know about it unless I was actually at a distributor's facility or something like that. There was no way to know about it, and forget about learning how to work it, you know.
Right.
Nowadays, you know, you can get projects to work on. Like back then, you would get if you wanted to practice mixing, guess what? You had to go in the studio, hire a band, you know, record something, and then practice it and buy constant studio time. Now you can go online and get a whole project, you know, and mix it. You know, mix it for 10 days if you wanted, for 3 months, mix it over and over and over, you know, learn from it. You know, you can do that now, but back then you couldn't. But yeah, all I had was magazines, you know, and but so now you can go on YouTube, you can go on different sites, you can join like the manufacturers have their own mixing with the masters. So you could actually hear stuff from guys that went multi-platinum, guys that, you know, you hear their stories on what microphones they used and how they did in the studio, who's drunk, you know, who's this, you know, so you can hear all that, you can hear all the good stories and everything just by going online and seeking it. So that's cool. But the journals would be like AES, probably be the best journal for you. And they have all the technical specs. So like when a new system comes out, all the specs would be in there. So if you're that type of person, you're really into it like that, you know, that's the place to go.
Gotcha. Okay, I was just curious. I'm a little nerdy like that, so you know.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Yeah,
definitely.
Well, you know, we're coming up on our hour, you know. So, but so maybe you can talk about, you know, you already did a little bit. We can talk about your opportunities for the future, what you see for yourself, industry. You know, what's your hopes and dreams for 2021? You know, I'm still 60, but I'm kicking, and I want to, you know, I got probably a couple more things left in my bag here. What about yourself?
Just Mix 488, man.
Okay.
It's taking off. That's our focus. We want that to blow up, and we want everybody to realize that, hey, for $88 you can have your song professionally mixed, and the more people that come and do this for that super low price will keep us running and keep everything getting better and better and better. You know, so that's our thing. We're focused a lot on Mix 48. My wife and I just opened up a publishing company, so we're into looking at doing books, and it's called KD Publishing. Looking at doing books and everything, and she's putting out her first book, and a lot of good stuff like that. We're going to be doing. We like to get into this game you're into, podcast, so I can have you on as a guest one day, and and stuff
pleasure.
like that. Just this whole media, man, just staying alive on media. It's not hard. It's hard to do because it takes a lot of time, but it can be done. That's basically, I can say it that way. It's doable.
I got a second book coming out, so I'll take a look at you guys. Let me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
My second book's called Black Camelot.
I like that.
Basically, it's going into exactly what we're talking about: 1960s urban America. How urban America was very progressive in terms of economics.
Right.
Social. We had a lot of. People don't realize that in the 1960s, because of the Great Society, a lot of Black middle class were produced. So the question was, what happened to their children? This was really the wave of Black middle class like you and I,
right?
From middle class families because of the Great Society. There was money put into things like manpower. People
right.
That manpower. That's also when we started. Pre-kindergarten. All that kind of stuff. And so there was a lot of money put into urban America, and it was an injection. And then, so what was the output of that from a very humanistic storytelling point of view?
Wow.
So stories, and just like there was Camelot to Kennedy's, there's a Black Camelot. So if you kind of catch the
oh man, I love it.
And so
just a sidebar. When I was in the second grade, I remember we was in trailers back then, but in my school, which was Kentop, they came to our class and told us about Sesame Street, and they were looking for people to act on Sesame Street. I'll always remember that. So,
yeah.
But yeah, exactly. when you say all the opportunities we had and how it grew and now look at Sesame Street, but yeah, man, that's beautiful. I like that, man. I would love to talk to you about being a part of that whole.
Yeah, basically, it's I've written a grant for it already, and so if I get the grant, it's basically $5,000 a month to write the book.
Wow. And
so to give your wives for a heads up on, there's a website called grants.gov.
Grants.gov, okay.
And basically all you gotta do is it's a website. You register it, and it's all types of opportunities for stuff that you do in terms of publishing and writing, and it's basically free money. All you gotta do is put in the work. You gotta write the grant,
Yeah. This is my wife, my second half, my baby. This is my man Ken from back in the day, East Orange house.
How are you?
And he's got his second book coming out.
Oh, congratulations!
And he was just telling me how it's a dope idea. And he's saying it's a website called grants.com.
Okay.
Grants.gov.
And they'll give him like $5,000 a month to do his project.
Oh wow. Oh, thank you.
All opportunities. All you gotta do is do a web search for what you're doing. All the grants pop up.
Okay.
Wow.
Grants.gov. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And, the first book.
And he talk to us about working with him on his book.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. Yes. Awesome. I can't wait to see your project.
Yeah, we'll look for the first book. It's called No Tears, coming out in January.
Oh, okay, awesome. And I have one called Yes Boy Bye. It's releasing this spring.
What's the name of your book?
It's called Yes Boy Bye. It's awesome. Listen. It is awesome. It is. It's fiction. It's based on a girl. She basically meets.
What's it about? Go ahead.
Quick synopsis. She basically meets a guy, and he sweeps her off her feet, luxury life, only to find out that he is a gun trafficker from the Congo. It gets really interesting. The feds come in, they want her to turn against him, but she's a tough cookie. So it's an interesting book. I don't want to give too much away, but I'm really excited about it.
Sounds like a movie to me. Sounds like a movie.
That part.
Got it. I got it. I see. I know the deal. That's funny. Well, Ken, I can see you blessed, man. You're a blessed man, and I'm happy for you. And
thank you, man. Nah, you are, man.
I was telling the folks in the intro that,
East Orange.
I asked my man Ken to help me out, and he said, no problem, wouldn't know him in the horn. So I really thank you. And you're looking good. I went back and looked at your high school picture back in the year.
Oh, wow.
And And I was showing a friend. I said, "Yeah, he's a big, handsome, charismatic guy. He's still handsome, you know." But time has treated you well, my brother.
Thank you. You too, man. Look at that. You don't have all these grades like I got, man. Time has treated you great.
That's sophistication. You got the sophisticated look. That's what we call that. That's what we call that. Man. You got to sell it. Whatever it is, got to sell it.
And look at you, man. You're doing your thing, man. I'm so proud of you, man. Uh-oh, here it comes. Oh, there it goes. All right.
That's why I was waiting.
There's my brother. There's my brother. My brother in gray.
I'm right with you, man. I'm right with you. So. Well, Ken, thanks a million, man.
You too, Ken, man. Thank you for having me.
Take us out. Why don't you say something to the audience? Anything you want to say? I'll let you take us out.
Oh, man. Thank you guys for tuning in to Ken. He's the best, and he's a well-prepared interviewer. He studies his people that he's talking to, and you can't ask for no more than that. You know, it's not just on the wing. He definitely puts a lot of thought into what he's doing, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here. And he's writing books and everything. I appreciate to be in the room with greatness. So, you guys, let's just keep being great. Let's keep your hustle on, man. Keep learning, keep trying, keep pushing. And I'm telling you, the day that you say stop is the next day you would have made it. You know, you would have made it. So don't stop. Keep pushing as hard as you can. Make sure you do it. Go to the websites, go to the grants, go to places that you need to help build your business. When you say, man, I can't do anything else. Guess what? Ask yourself another question. That's the thing. I teach my students that when you can't figure something out, ask yourself another question. I can't figure it out. Well, what if I make up a question? What if I tried to do it if I were in Maine? Is it a difference in Maine? And go look up Maine. You find out something. I did have $5 a week that I could put to this. What would I buy with the $5 a week? Oh, and you get another set. Well, would it take $10 a week? Would it take 15? How much would it? Another question. How much would it take to get me to go where I got to go? And then the next question is, how do I go about getting that money and freeing up that? Just keep asking yourself more questions and answering those questions, and you'll find the way to accomplish what it is you're trying to accomplish. And hopefully 2021 will be a better year for us, you know, less deaths. And this death toll this year has been crazy. You know, we don't need COVID and cops killing blacks. We don't need that. We need harmony, and hopefully have a better administration this time. So let's all pray and keep it going, you know, stay focused and keep trying, keep pushing.
Absolutely. All right, McKen.
And when you really,
bro,
when you really get in that problem, say the main question of the day was, what would Ken Daniels do? And that's the question that we all need to ask ourselves.
There you go. There you go. That's a nice way to head on out, man. Ken, thank you very much. And
right.
Appreciate your time. And
good seeing you, man.
For a few.
Okay. Take care.
All right. Peace.
Peace.